thank you for joining me, Melissa. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So you announced that your campaign 2 weeks ago for the 3rd Congressional District. What's life been like kind of for you since then?
It's hard to remember. It's been a bit of a blur, but in the very best way. It's been really exciting. You know, there's this vulnerability in putting yourself out there for a campaign, right? When you first launch the Facebook page and you have 0 likes and 0 followers, and you're like, oh gosh, like, are people gonna like this campaign? Are they gonna, you know, be attracted to what it has to offer? And it has been, I've just been overwhelmed by the response. The people I've been calling and talking to in social media and comments and messages, it's like, yes, this is what we're looking for. Someone we can relate with. You're a regular Iowan, lifetime Iowan, and you get me, you get my story, and I'm excited to see you take it to Washington. So I've been super encouraged.
Tell me some of the goals for your campaign. What are some of the main things that you want to push?
Yeah, so some of our top issues include access to abortion and women's health care rights. We've got an income that works for all Iowans, right? You should be able to put a roof over your head and put food on the table and get your kid a backpack for school, right? That's, if you're working 40 hours a week, those are things that should just be possible for you and your family. And then third, I would say moving away from extremism. I think Iowans they're ready to be done with having their rights taken away and the divisiveness that has come out of that. And so I think this return to democracy, that's what our country was founded on, right? That's what has made us this global superpower, is our democracy. And it's scary when you start seeing that slipping away. And so moving back to a space where we're led with democracy is super important.
Perfect. And we already talked about this, but you're the executive director of the Beacon, a nonprofit here in Des Moines, assisting women experiencing trauma. I'm kind of curious, if elected as representative, how could you translate some of the services you provide women at not only a state level, but also at a national level?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are so many similarities between nonprofit work and political work, right? Because you're looking at systems change. So when I got to the Beacon, coming into a space and seeing systems that were harming people, those systems were set up by the government, right? So in nonprofit, you're trying to do damage control for systems that were set up before you began, right? So to go into the political sphere where those systems originated and take the same amount of determination that I have into that space with more issues and a broader audience, but also the ability to make even bigger changes, I'm super motivated by that.
I watched your campaign announcement video a couple times. One thing that kind of sticks out to me, obviously you would be running against current Representative Zach Nunn, but the contrast that you kind of draw between yourself, your campaign, and his. Talk to me a little bit about that contrast between you guys.
Yeah, so I think that we are looking at being with the people and bringing the stories of your everyday Iowan to DC and advocating for what the people want, right? So if, you know, we know that hardly any Iowans want a total abortion ban, right? But to have someone as our representative who is advocating for that, that's dangerous, right? So we want to have a representative who advocates for the things that Iowans actually want. That's the whole job of a representative, so.
Yeah, and I like that you just brought about bringing stuff from Iowa to DC if elected as representative. How can your Iowan roots be reflected on Capitol Hill?
Yeah, so there's some really great values for all Iowans, right? We are a hardworking group of people, and we genuinely care about our neighbors. We care about each other, and we want to see people succeed, right? And we want people to have the human rights that they deserve in order to succeed. And I think those are values that we could all agree on and that can be really important to have in DC.
So you're running for the 3rd Congressional District. I already mentioned you'd be up against Representative Zach Nunn. Why do you believe it's time for a change in that area of Iowa?
Well, we've seen this shift toward extremism, and that's being reflected even within our own district. And the impact of that is harming families, right? And so we need to have systems in place that are supporting families. The government should provide a scaffolding from which we can live and work and interact with each other. And I have lived in so many of those spaces. I have been in absolute poverty when I had $0 in my bank after I left domestic violence and I was on my own with 4 little boys. I've been an hourly worker. That first job I got, checking groceries for $8.50 an hour. I know what it's like to have almost no paycheck. I've worked in healthcare, so I know what the healthcare system is like and navigating that and some of the problems we have in healthcare, right? Lots of problems. I've started and run small businesses, right? So to be a small business owner brings all kinds of joys and challenges with it that I can relate with, and now being in nonprofit. So there are so many spaces of what the life might look like for an Iowan and their family that I can relate to. And for those that I can't, I'm eager to learn and to bring empathy to those situations so I can carry those stories with me to DC.
So a couple days before you, another Democrat, Nunn, announced that he was running for the same seat that you're running for as well. He's already gotten some endorsements from like former Governor Vilsack, State Auditor Rob Sands. He's building up a lot of these endorsements. I guess this is kind of a two-part question. Is it kind of intimidating, I guess, that he's getting all of the endorsements building up so quickly in such a short time? And how can you match the number of endorsements that he's getting in the next couple of months?
Sure. I don't think it's necessarily the goal to match what he's doing. I think what we're doing is just different. So we are building a coalition among everyday Iowans, right? And those are your voters. An endorsement is one voter, right? So if I can connect with thousands of voters who can relate with my story and who can say, hey, this is someone, I want someone authentic, I want someone who gets my story and can take it to Washington, right? Like each of those people is one vote too, right? And so our approach is different, and that's okay, right? That's the joy of elections, is that people get to choose what seems best for them. And so I'm excited to be able to represent Iowans.
Bacam and Representative Nunn, they're both veterans. They've both served in the military before. How can you reach people who share similar military experiences as your two opponents?
Yeah, so one of the top concerns right now among veterans is mental health. So I have a master's degree in mental health counseling and have worked in that space for several years prior to nonprofit. And so if that is one of our leading concerns, that's something I'm very comfortable speaking to and advocating for. We're seeing an increase in the rates of suicide among our veterans, that their mental health is struggling, and we have just not done a good job of providing for the health care and basic needs of our veterans. And I think that that's something that's really important to advocate for.
So you haven't had any political experience in Congress before. How could a first-time elect, what could you bring to Capitol Hill?
I think it's an advantage that I'm not a lifetime politician. I wasn't looking for this, it came looking for me, right? So I've been with the people, right? And so then to move into that space, I'm a true representative of the people if I have been working in all of these different spheres and can relate with different socioeconomic levels, different types of industries. I think that's an advantage to the folks of Iowa.
Sure. I think last thing I want to ask you, Melissa, and this is just to wrap up anything that we have missed, why do you believe you're the right representative for Iowa's 3rd Congressional District?
I believe Iowa's 3rd Congressional District needs someone who is ready to advocate for women's rights, for an income that works for all Iowans, and for a move away from extremism. We need more women in Congress. Congress is 28% women right now, and I'm happy to help increase that percentage, and I think that Iowans will be excited to get behind that.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
Perfect. I thank you so much for joining us. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it, Melissa.
Yeah, that was fun.